Scene Travis, take one.
Scene Travis.
That's what it is. It's your series, this is just my scene. Hi, I'm Travis Winfrey, and this is my LA year one. So, my year one in LA actually starts in New York, which I'm sure it did for a lot of people. I was grinding away, doing commercial print modeling, off-Broadway theater, just you name it. Just, running the course. And I met a manager at a competition called IMTA, and I sang The Lion King for him because that was the hot Broadway audition at the time. And I sang for him in the lobby of the Hilton Hotel in downtown Manhattan. And I went with my girlfriend at the time too, and she also auditioned for him, and he wanted to sign me, but he was in LA. And I had never been past Chicago, or even to the West Coast at all. So he was like, when you get out to LA, give me a call. He gave me his card, and I told my best friend that, yeah, man, I'm out of here. I'm done. I was over New York. So I bought a car off Craigslist for $2,000. I asked my buddy Theo if he was down to ride out to LA with me, and I got in my car and drove. When I got out to LA, I spoke to the manager, and he told me, yeah, my black dude on my roster booked a show, so I have an open slot. And that was my first day in LA. It was hearing that, oh, the only reason why you were interested in me is because you needed a black dude on your roster, and the one that you have was just booked out for a while on a TV show. I was like, all right, so I guess this is it, how it works in LA. My buddy and I were driving around Hollywood, and I didn't know anything about LA, didn't do any research at all, so we stopped and stayed in the Hollywood Motel for the first 2 nights that we were here, which is, it was an adventure back then, but fuck, what a dump. That's when it hit me, like, oh man, I'm in a new place. I was 25 at the time. Just moved out to LA like 3 or 4 days ago. So I'm looking on Craigslist, I find an apartment finally after a week or two of sleeping in hotels and motels, just back and forth. And I started looking for a job. I was a bartender in New York, like I spit bottles, Spitfire, all that. Anything you can think of in New York bartending, I can do that. I worked at a bunch of high-end places, a lot of clubs, a lot of really big, popular clubs. And I couldn't find a job out here in Hollywood to save my life. Every place that I went, I looked around and just didn't have any black guy bartenders here. And that went on for about 6 months where I just could not find a job. I wouldn't say it was disheartening, it was scary for a moment to, just come out here and only have a few auditions. I was taking meetings at the time with different agencies and, casting directors and stuff, but the main issue was I could not find a regular job out here. So finally one day I was walking down the street and I saw this club called Fuel in my neighborhood bar. And most of the time as a bartender, you don't work at your neighborhood bar. You want to work at a big club where you make money. And I just walked in and I was like, hey, are you guys hiring? And the manager was like, yeah, we are. We looking for a bartender Friday. He's like, are you okay with us? I was like, what do you mean us? He was like, with us, the gays. I was like, oh, I didn't even know it was a gay bar. And I was like, of course I am. And he was like, well, good, then you can start Friday. Do you mind taking off your shirt for an hour? And that was it. I was like, yeah, I guess that's cool. So boom, I had my job. And it was the best job I have ever had in my life. I worked 3 days a week. They were totally open with my schedule. I learned a lot about, honestly, a culture that I wasn't even involved with. The gay community was not something I was very close to. I was always familiar. They took me under their wing and just, provided me a home in a place to work in LA, which was something that I never really had before, a gig. And the auditions started to take off. So I was comfortable. And I booked commercials here and there. I did a couple car commercials, a couple McDonald's commercials, some guest stars, a couple Disney shows, some Mad TV stuff. It was slow. It was a very slow process. And then the writer's strike hit. That put things to a halt for the most part, especially for the lower tier actors like me, co-stars, guest stars, people who are trying to possibly become a series regular. They get pushed to the background or down the chain when the higher up actors who are doing the movies or films start having to work in TV again because there's no money going to feature films. It's a trickle down effect. The big guys eat and the little guys don't. But still, we fight. We still auditioned. We suffered some contract changes and new media made an appearance, which means that the money you got for commercials wasn't the same anymore. TV shows became web series or experimental shorts, and we just weren't making enough money to live, even if you got a job or even if you consistently worked. And that's what 2008 really was about, was revealing how the business works to me. Things finally came to an head, and I had to make a move back to Atlanta to, help out with some family issues. And things were they were stuck here in LA. So I went back to Atlanta for about 8 months. Got a little bartending job, met the love of my life at the time. And I told my manager, hey, man, I think I'm coming back to LA. And he was like, well, why don't you check out this audition in Atlanta? I'm like, all right. And it turned out to be Single Ladies, which was a show that became series regular and started off my career. And I say all that to go back to the first year, because in contrast, the first year of acting is the best year. And it's the only good year of being an actor, I think, because you don't know anything, but you're still sold the dream, and it's exciting and it's addicting. I never really wanted to be like an actor, but that first job, right when I was about to quit, it was like the drug hit. It kept me in it. Right when you're about to give up, you book that job. I don't know if it's the universe or it's something to where whenever you book a ticket home as an actor that first year when you're gonna go home for Christmas, that's when you book your first job. That's the way with everybody. So the moment that I felt like I was gonna give up, every time I was like, this just doesn't make logical sense to me to keep doing this, I get a job. And that was my first year in LA, was the pain of learning something new. New people, new interactions with people, just a new ecosystem. Everything about it was strange. Oh, that's fine. We're under a military occupation right now, so the sound is you're gonna hear helicopters, and you're gonna hear 70s music coming from next door, because we're just in a weird time. The military is right outside with guns. I didn't wear my Corona mask, even though I wanted to take it off to mark what time in history we're in. 2020. Yeah, I got here in 2005, so it's been 15 years in LA. Earthquakes, strikes, recession, you name it, and it's happened while I've been here, but never have I thought that I would see military standing with guns standing on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There's the Army and the National Guard and the cops are standing out with assault rifles on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where anybody who's an actor wishes their name will end up one time, at some point in time. Yeah, I never thought it would be like this. My first year here was when I came out here and I was ignorant and narcissistic, and I came out here for me. I came out here because I wanted to make it, and I wanted to be on TV, and I wanted to be in movies. During my first year, and it gradually changed more, but something changed where now it's not for me, it's for everybody else. Even the content that you and I produce sometimes, you know, it's all got a message, and it's never, and I'm not in it anymore. When I produce something or write something, I don't want to be in it anymore. I want it to have an impact. So going from the selfish actor in 2005 who was just begging for a commercial audition because I wanted that $25,000, because I wanted to buy some new shoes, I wanted to buy a car, and then essentially getting what I asked for and having the drama and controversy that came from it. I'll tell you something. We had the conversation off camera about mental health. The worst time in my life ever was when I was on TV for the first time. It was the worst time mentally, spiritually, and emotionally I've never ever experienced depression like when I got my first series regular role. And I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't tell you why I felt so empty and hopeless when I got what I came out here for. And I don't think it's just me who's experienced that. I've talked to a couple of actors that have had that same kind of feeling where when you get the show and you get what you ask for, it's empty. It's empty. And there's no validation in that. So that leads to what I'm doing now. I saw a lack of black and brown stories in the media, and I also, being a part of the entertainment machine, I've been subjected to, you know, subtle racism that comes with casting. When you see how we're portrayed in movies and media and TV, you don't even know the half of how predetermined that is. When we read the casting breakdowns and it says John, 36, loving wife and kids, Caucasian, went through this 2 paragraphs of character description, and then it says Tyrone, African American, and that's it. That's the character description. Yeah, man, I guess I just got really disheartened with the business over the years. People call that jaded. I call it enlightened. And I found that my power came from being involved with projects that help us as a society. Like, so I moved on to produce some segments of Sesame Street. Thank you to my attorney and friend Nathan Williams. We have a short film called Burden that's running through the film festivals right now, which is unfortunately timely, because it addresses some of the racial issues that are going on today. And, you know, as a black storyteller, unfortunately, the majority of the things that we have to draw from are racially induced stories, because that's our lives. So it's hard to avoid that, but my goal has been to create an entertainment space where we can create a fantasy life that we want to live in. So that's called sci-fi, by the way. Science fiction. It's really sad that science fiction for us is just a movie where it's not about cops killing us or us being enslaved or us being a rapper or an athlete. You know, like, and it's a fight. It's a fight just because of the way our world is, the way the entertainment business sees us, the way the executives are structured, the way that black TV shows and ideas are treated just by Hollywood executives, TV networks, studios, even other black executives who hear your ideas. It's kind of an eye-opening experience. So, yeah, my year one was a fantastic delusion of what I saw on TV and what everybody told me LA would be. And the reality was that when I got out here, I just had to fight the whole time. And it's been 15 years. And I'm not going to give up the fight at all, but it is not a glamorous, glorious thing. If you're a beach bum, or if you're like kind of person who's just real bohemian and likes to be in the sun and chill and relax, and that's great. This is the perfect place for you. But if you came out here with an agenda or with a mission to do something, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a fight. I'm extremely grateful that I've grown into the person I am now, from the person who I was, who was here in LA year one. I was super LA. Sunglasses inside, flip flops, camo shorts. That was me. That was the life. Yeah, it's nice to reminisce about 2005 Los Angeles, California trav. Thank God I'm not that person anymore. I found a purpose, and without experiencing all those things, I would have never found my true purpose and my true sense of happiness in the entertainment business. And it's a tough one. I wish that my story was more magical, you know? Like, there's some magical elements, but narrowing it down to the first year in LA, everything went right and everything went wrong at the same time. Which all that perfect mess led to exactly who I am today. Yeah, still fuck LA traffic though. It's the worst.
All right. That was perfect.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.